Okay, guys, welcome to class 4. And till yesterday, we have completed until while loop. If you remember, we have covered arrays, we have covered loops, we have covered, for loop and while loop. Today, we will check do while loop, for each, varargs, and then the things that we are going to start will be very, very important and conceptual. So I expect you guys to be focused, okay? Very much focused. So just give me a second. I'll mute everybody. Hear some background noise. Only then do while loop is required or recommended. What that means? It means you will probably have a requirement in future where at least once your loop should be executed. At least once. That particular situation can be handled with a do while loop. Let us do the same thing here. Same exact example. Do, the format of writing do while loop is this. Do, you create a scope, you say while, right? And then you are giving a brackets. In the bracket, I am actually going to give the same condition, right? And then I'm going to copy this piece, paste it here. So what did happen here? The condition was failed. Nothing got executed, correct? But with do while loop, I will get an exception right there because this guy got executed. This particular line got executed. And what is the problem? The problem is the count I have set to 6, but total number of element is 6, but the index of the array, what is the index of this, what is the maximum index of this array, Rajesh? What is the maximum index of this array? Yeah, 5, right? So total number of element is 6, which means I told you yesterday size minus 1 is basically the max index of the array, which is 5 here. And I'm giving the value of count is 6. So obviously, if I try to access the count, the array, which is out of your index, you will get the error. No problem. I will set this to 5. Okay. Let's execute now. I got 78. Okay. I got 78, which is this guy. Now, can any one of you tell me why did I get this?
Because we are using the condition like it's less than length, not less than equal to.
No.
Yeah, may I?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it is entering. Do you are instructing it to perform the activity? That's why initially it is entering first.
Okay, so the point here is that you are let us debug this all together. Line number 19, I'm putting a breakpoint and I am doing test loops. I'm stopping in line number 19. Okay. No, wait a minute. Sorry, my bad. The 78 got print from this line, not from this guy. Let me actually comment this out. Okay. So nums count. Right. Because the counter over here got incremented by the while loop, right? So then the counter is 6. So this guy actually gave me an exception. Okay. Now when I have commented this out, now the counter is set to 5 till here, and then it will work the way we want it to work. So let's run this. Yeah, that's it. So you see the loop got executed in line number 19. The counter is 5, no problem. I'm going a step over. Okay, step over. My counter is added, incremented to what? 6. 6 is not less than nums.length. So my loop exits. It goes to do and exits. You see that? I'm doing step by step. So you figured out that the first guy got executed because it's a do while loop, and do while loop says that at least one iteration it will be anyhow executed. Okay, so it got executed. This guy got executed as a part of first iteration, and then the condition was checked and it was false, so it came out of the loop. Simple. Any doubt, guys? Vidya, I'm not hearing from you at all. What happened? Okay, so that's with that, right? So we have understood for loop, do loop, while loop, and do while loop. Okay, the last type of loop that we will see here is called for each loop. Okay, so let me create a new class called for each, or they call it as extended for loop, but anyway, I'll say for each loop, for each test. And let's start with a main method. Okay, I'm going to just copy and paste my array, no problem. Sorry, I'll just copy it. Fine. In for each loop, things are even easier. Okay, the only problem with for each loop is that for each loop works only with collections. So let me write it down. For each loop works with collections. Collections means like array. Array is a collection. Then you will learn later on. We have array list. We have maps. We have set. We have hash map. Lot of these things, right? We will learn about all these things later on. But these guys are a part of collections. Okay.
But in software, what does a collection mean? Like where? Collection
means, as I told you yesterday, when you are grouping same type of elements inside one space, then it is called a collection of elements.
All right. Okay.
Array is a collection. Array collection means you are storing. So I told you in array you cannot store different type of data. You can store either int or string or boolean, whatever it is. But you cannot store multiple. You cannot say I want to store integer and string and boolean and character. You cannot do that. So this means nums here. This variable nums is the collection of integer, and this collection is called as array. In this situation, right? In this situation, this is how you are declaring an array. This is the syntax of declaring an array, and this is a collection at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the point is, the for each loop works with collections only. Okay. What's the idea? In for loop we saw. Okay. So in for loop we saw that we have to give a range, a lower to upper index, a range. In while loop, we saw in while and do while loop, we saw that we have to give a condition. And within, as long as the condition is true, your loop will iterate. That's what we saw, right? In for each loop, I don't need any of these guys. Okay? What I need is a collection. Collection meaning all the same type of element in one single place. So let's look at the syntax. For, I give a bracket. What is this guy? It is storing multiple integers, right? So I'm going to say int. I'm going to give a variable saying num. I give a colon and I will say nums. And then I'm going to close the loop. By doing this, what exactly you are doing is you are saying as long as there is an element in the collection, the loop will keep on iterating. So there is an internal mechanism that has been designed for this kind of loop. That is, it will keep on seeing, it will keep on looking for a new element in the collection. As long as it finds an element in the collection, this loop keeps on iterating. Okay, so see, I'm not giving any range, I'm not giving any condition, nothing at all. All I have to do is I press this out and I will just say num here. Let's do the debug. Anything that you have a problem on, I mean, as long as you don't know how to debug, you are not mastering how to debug, you are not going to take a step forward. You have to, whenever there is a doubt, put a breakpoint, pause your execution, try to analyze, spend time. That's the only way. You have to spend time. So put a breakpoint and see what exactly you are seeing. Okay, I'm going to ask a question. I'll put a breakpoint line number 13. Test loops. No, for each, right? So debug as Java application. Okay. Right. My breakpoint is in line number 13. The question goes to Ashish. Can you tell me, Ashish, that what is this guy doing here? Like, you know, I'm getting 12. How exactly I got 12 here?
Because we have not mentioned the array place like 0, 1, 2, 3. So he is picking by default 12.
Right. So what? You don't have to mention, you're not required to mention any index here.
Okay.
I'm getting 12, which means if I actually go one step down, 12 will be printed. Okay?
Yeah.
If I go to the next step, this system out.println is not even printed. It is, the execution is paused in line number 13. Can you tell me what will be the value of num? What will be the value of num?
I think value of num is 12.
Why?
Or I think we have missed the index number. That's why he's not printing anything here.
I mean, line number 13 is not even executed, right?
Yeah.
Line number 13 was executed for the first iteration and I got 12. Line number 13 is not yet executed. The execution is at pause right now. Unless I do a step over, you see here on this corner. You see that?
Yeah.
Unless I do a step over, I will not be going to line number 14. I will not. So this line is not yet executed. What is the value of num is the question.
No idea.
Rajesh, do you want to say?
No, man, no.
It is 34, guys. let me explain. Okay, let me explain again. How do I do that? Okay, so let me go back to my paint. I'm gonna clear everything. What do I have here is an array. Okay, a simple array. It's an array. There are 6 elements here. Okay, and these are the values: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. There are these values here. Okay, I am talking about a for each loop. For each loop. In for each loop, the name of this array is what? Nums. Okay, in the for each loop, let me actually erase this. And in the for each loop, here I say for int number num colon nums. By doing this, and by doing this, what just happened? You are saying go to the nums array, and for every iteration pick up the value and give it back to me and assign it to the num variable. The for loop will do what? It will first go to the index, sorry, not this guy. Okay, it will go to the index number 0, then it will go to 20, then it will go to 30, then to 40, 50, and 60. For every iteration, it will go and pick up the immediate next value, and then that will be assigned to the variable num here, which is then getting printed in the scope of the loop. So which is why when I printed, when the loop got executed, the first element 12 was printed, and then 34, and then 56, so on and so forth. Am I making sense at all?
Yes.
Ashish?
Yeah, yeah.
Vidya? Okay. Vidya? Did you get it?
No.
Okay. What is the confusion? In for each loop, there are different type of loops that we have seen in Java, right? Every other loop works in a different way. For loop, there is a range. While loop, do while loop works on conditions. For each loop, you don't need a range or a condition. All you need is a collection. You need a collection. So I am giving a collection to the for each loop, and I'm telling the loop that go inside the array, pick up one element at a time, and assign that value of the element, assign that value to the integer over here. Look at the execution. I am not in. I have just completed. Okay, forget it. I'll put in line number 12. Tell me this, Vidya. What is the value of num variable here? Please consider the fact that I have not even executed it.
12.
Come on. I have not even executed it. How will it assign the value if you are not executing the line? How the first element will come to the num variable if you are not even executing the line. Once you are moving to the next line, that's where the value is assigned, right?
Okay.
What is the value of num then? The value of num is 0.
0.
Because in Java, an initial value given to an integer sets to 0. So this guy is 0. It's not even 0 right now because it is not even considered, because this line itself is not even executed. Int num, that line itself is not executed, because in your program, in a class, everything gets executed from the first line to the last line. Step by step, everything gets executed, right? So
Okay.
this particular line is not even considered by Java at all. So which is why it is not even showing you any value. There is nothing there, right? It's just a syntax, just a text right now. Now, if I am going one step down, that's where the num variable got initialized, also assigned with a value which is 12. If I hover on num, it is 12. So by executing this line right here, this line, sorry, by executing this line, what just happened? Exactly this happened. Int num equals 12. That's what happened. We create a variable and then we assign a value to it, right? So this is what exactly happened when this line got executed by the for each loop. And then what happened? Then I am just going to print it in line number 13. So I did the print. And then again, I go down, I keep on printing, because every time the loop iterates, it just picks up the next immediate value, assign that value to the variable, because you know that variables can be updated. Every time the variables can be updated. So it's a variable num, which keeps on getting updated at every iteration. And then you just have the values all printed from the list, from the array. Everybody.
So loop back again, it's going to come print 12 now, right?
Why? The loop is over, right?
Oh, the loop is over. Okay.
Because that's the reason that's the reason I'm out of the loop. The green line shows that I'm out of the loop.
Okay.
It moved from 0 to 5 index, and the array is over, so the loop is over.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So that's the for each loop. Okay. Very good. Now let's go back to the PPT. We saw for each loop. I have mentioned clearly that for each loop in Java is used to iterate over array or collections. Correct? That's that. Now let's go to something called as varargs. What is varargs? We're going to use the concept of varargs, and we will actually do some stuff that we have already done earlier. So we are going to use everything here, and we are going to create a program. Okay? What is varargs? Let's try to understand that first. So after Java version 1.5, the concept of varargs came into picture. Okay? So varargs means that you can actually give multiple parameters or arguments to a method. Okay? You can give multiple arguments to a method. Okay? So let me actually show this to you. I'm going to create a new class, not a package, a class. New class. And here I'm going to say varargs. Okay. So the point is that Okay, it's a main method. This main method by default is having a signature argument, which is array of strings. We know that part. Okay. Now I'm going to create another method. Okay. I'm saying public void. What is public? What is void? I will talk about that later on. Just concentrate on what I'm showing. So public void print values. This is the method. By looking at the name of the method, you can understand this method is built to print values. Okay, what values? The values are basically coming from an argument. Okay, let's see what is that argument will look like. I can, if I want, I can give an array here, right? I can say int array nums. I can do that. And then I can say normal for each loop. You have just seen the for each loop, so you should not have any confusion now. Nums, and all am I doing is what? Sysout and num. You just saw this 2 minutes back, this particular section, so you should not be confused. You should not be confused. The only thing is different here in this case is the for loop is within a method, and this method, I have to keep a static here, sorry. So this for loop is within a method, and this method is having an argument of integer array, because this argument over here, this array that I'm going to supply inside the method, will be then used by the for each loop to get printed. Make sense? How can I call this method? Very simple. I can simply say print. Okay, let me first create an array. Int array num equals some random value. Sorry. Okay, some random value I've given, and this guy here I want to pass on to this particular method, right? So now how do I do that? Very simple. I have to call this method. What is method? How to call it? I will talk about that later on, but look at this program for now. Print value is the method. I'm going to call it. When I'm calling it, I also have to say that this method is there in this class. So there are two methods. There is a main method and there is another method called print value. So I'm calling print value method from the main method. Simple. So print values, I will be supplying this nums here. Okay. Can you guys tell me? Can you just sorry. I want to ask Rajesh this time. Can you tell me what did I just do? I mean, whatever I just explained, can you tell me in brief, like what exactly did I do by looking at this code? What do you think has happened? What has happened, Rajesh? What is this?
That's the main.
Main method. What is this?
The header for this guy, the print values is header.
What is print values? What is this guy? Is it a method? Is it a class? Is it what? What exactly it is?
Fab. No.
What does it look like? What is the difference do you see between this one and this one?
that wasn't a main method and this one is a class.
This is a class, Rajesh. Inside the class, we are keeping class members. Class members, one is main, another one is another method called print values.
Mm-hmm.
You have a class keyword which says that this is a class, right?
All right, okay.
This is a main method, and this is also a method, but the name of the method is print values. Instead of main, I am just giving another name to it called print values, but it is also a method.
So we can say it as a sub method or something.
No, it's a separate method, not a sub method. It's a separate method.
Okay.
I can create n number of methods inside a class. This is one method. This is second method.
Okay.
Right?
But
Okay.
this is going to be the main method, and one class can have only one method, one main method, or multiple main methods.
No, main method you can have only one. Because you are starting, because when your execution starts, it gets started from the main method.
Mm-hmm.
So you should have only one main method.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Okay. And also on top of that, you cannot keep two same method in the class. So if I just copy this, and if I just paste it here, I will get an error because it will say duplicate method, right?
Okay.
These two methods are same, so which is not allowed. You cannot keep same methods in the class. So I have to keep unique methods, right?
Mm-hmm.
So main is a unique method, print value is the unique method. In print value method, what is happening? What is this? What is this, guy?
It's gonna print the numbers of what you mentioned in that.
Okay. What is this guy? It's a for each loop, right?
That's right. Yeah.
To work with the for each loop, what do I need? I need a collection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Collection.
Yeah, that's the collection.
That's
what
an
we
array,
have
right?
in the array.
Yeah. Yeah. So this collection, this particular print value is accepting an argument in form of a collection. That's a collection that is coming inside the method. Okay?
Right.
And you are using this guy here, and then you are using the same guy here, and you're printing them in the for each loop. Correct?
Right.
Is that making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now this method over here needs to be called. If I want to execute this method, I have to call this method from somewhere. Otherwise, so JVM takes care of calling main method by itself. It does it automatically. That's fine. But JVM will not take the responsibility of calling print values. You will have to call it by itself, by yourself. So how do I call it? I'm calling it from the main method. I just called it here by mentioning the name and by passing the argument. What is the argument? The argument is his numbers. If I debug this, debug as Java application, just see what happens. Okay, I'm in line number 8. Can you please tell me whether the line number 8 is executed or not?
Not.
Okay, so if I hover on nums, I will get all my values that are registered to it. No problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I will do a step over. Okay, sorry, a step into. I'll do a step into. Just see what happens. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
My execution jumped from line number 8 to line number 13. How did that happen? It happened because I have called this method, right?
Print values, yeah.
That's the method I've called. So it jumped, my execution jumped from line number 8 to line number 13. And now in this particular print values method, if I hover on the nums, you see that value, that entire array is now moved, or it is now pushed inside this method.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that?
Because it's nums, yeah.
Now if I run it, then I just get the same values here.
Good.
You understood?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Guys, you
Actually,
have to pardon me, like, because I know how to deal with stakeholders and clients, but again, I'm a bit slow with this developing stuff.
no issues at all. No issues at all.
Yeah, I'm just letting the other guys know as well. Like.
No problem at all. That's fine. I mean, everybody needs to learn from somewhere, so that's totally okay.
Most of the guys, they look like an expert. All right.
Some of them have experiences, yes. Yeah, somebody who is having like experience in dealing with like programming earlier, for them to pick this up will be much easier. I mean, that's totally understandable. But this program itself is built for everybody, whoever is having experience or they are starting new. This course is for everybody, right? So now the point is, I want to know if can we call them in random order? What do you mean by that, Shantanu?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Tell me.
Do you know the way like when you call them, so they just print out as 12, 45, 67, 88, 99. But like,
right,
if you wanted to print out 88 first, 99, and then like 45. Like
yeah, you can do that. You can do that, but I don't want to really do it now and confuse people with that.
Okay,
It's a very simple thing to do it. I have to just use a import for random. There is a utility called random number generator, and I can simply call that function, and then I can just print in whichever order I want to. It's a very simple thing to do, two-liner.
Okay.
But I don't want to confuse the class, right?
Okay, thanks.
Cool. So we understand that we can call another method and print on and push the array to another method and print them. Totally fine. Now the point is, I'm talking about varargs. So this is basically what? This is basically a array, right? Instead of array, instead of this argument, the way I have given here, instead of this, I can actually give something like this for this particular situation. I can say int dot dot dot, okay, and then I can say nums. This expression that I just wrote here is called as varargs. What is varargs? Varargs stand for variable arguments. Okay, variable arguments. Okay, int dot 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 nums, right? What is the benefit of this? What is the benefit of this? The benefit of this is that I am not worried about how many elements I want to send inside this method. What does it mean? It means if I just take this out, okay, and if I just say 1, 2, 3, 6, 78, 90, whatever, how many ever, okay, I can give n number of data, right? N number of data, because varargs will do what? The way varargs, sorry, just give me 2 seconds. Okay, so varargs is created in such a way that when you are submitting your information in this format, varargs itself will convert this whole section into an array. Right? Now, the point is, so what's the benefit? The benefit is you are not constrained by the number of elements in the array. What did I tell you? I told you the fact that array can have fixed length. That is not the situation here. You can give n number of information and it will be working out for you, right? So let me actually go ahead and run this. And you see that everything gets printed because this whole information is converted into an array by this expression, which is called as varargs, and then you know the for loop already. Okay, so you just got everything here. Any confusion from anybody on this? Because I'm going to come to the next part of it that is going to be challenging.
Hello. Hi,
Yeah,
sir.
go on.
Already, just what is the major difference between using this varargs and before, I mean, whatever you are showing now and the previous step?
Okay. So previously, I actually passed on a hard-coded array. The whole array was sent inside the method print values. In case of varargs, it is also same, but I am not supplying an array. I'm supplying some n number of integers that itself is getting converted to an array by varargs expression.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
I want to get questions from Ashish, Vidya, Rajesh.
Here
Anybody?
nums is nowhere initiated or like declaration.
Why I have to initiate it? It's an argument. Argument don't get initiated. You directly use it inside within the brackets. That is where it is actually. So argument means what? Argument means that I have a print value method, and this method is having a signature. Okay, so the signature says that this method name is print value, and this has an argument called nums, which is of type varargs. It's a signature. I don't want to really go there. It'll be confused again. But I'm just saying, you are just defining. You're just creating a method and saying that this method the name of this method is print values, and the signature of this method is that it accepts a varargs.
Okay.
It
this is how it works.
This is how it works.
The strings and
anything.
Okay.
This is how it works.
Okay.
Okay. You can also have methods which do not accept anything. So I can have a method like this: public static void add number, add nums. Okay, and then you see with the bracket is empty here. This bracket is empty here. I'm not passing anything. Inside the method I have two numbers. I'll create two numbers. I'll say a equals 10 and int b equals 20. And then I just say that sysout sysout a plus b. And this method, if I want to call from my main method, I can very well do that. Not this, just add nums. Okay, I can very well do that. And then I just say run. You see, it will first give you the value 30 because that got printed over here. Add nums was called. It got printed 30 and then it started printing from here to 89, which is here. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me not talk about add nums. I'll just remove this guy. I want to know if everybody understood varargs concept. If yes, then I will go a little bit deeper into it. Okay. All good with everybody? Yes, no? Ashish?
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good stuff. All right. Now what I'll do is I will give you a challenge. Okay. The challenge is this. Vidya just spoke about, I just explained adding numbers in the previous situation. So here I'm going to give you a situation, a challenge, very simple challenge, saying public void static void add numbers. Okay. Here I am going to give int a, int b. This particular method accepts two parameters. Okay, two arguments, a and b. I need to add it and then I want to print it. Simple. So I'll say int result equals a plus b, and then I say sysout result, right? This is add nums method, which means I can give, I will just actually comment out this section totally and this guy as well. Okay. I'll just call add nums again. I'm going to pass any values, any two values, 23, 45. Okay. Any two values. And if I just run this guy, I know my result will be 68. Why? Because you have seen that, let me put a breakpoint. Let me show it to you here, that I am in line number 8. Okay, it's not executed. I'll do a step into, and I moved to line number 19. I jumped from 8 to 19. Line number 19 is not yet executed, but the value of A and B is with me. A is 23, B is 45. Result is 68, and I am printing 68 now. That's add nums. Totally fine. I want to know if there is any doubt with this method. I'm adding two values. Everybody fine with this method?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The challenge is this. The challenge is I want to create a method that can give me a summation of n number of elements or numbers. I want to create a method that can give me an addition of n number of numbers, which means I want something like this. I want to create a method, say add numbers. Inside this method, I want to pass on value like this, whatever it is. Okay, why am I giving dots? Okay, whatever it is, how many ever it is, I want to pass on all these to this method called add numbers. And at the end of this, when this method will be totally executed, I want to get the summation of all these numbers that are passed on to it. Why do you think, I mean, how do you think this solution can be approached? I've shown you how to perform an addition. I've shown you how to use varargs. I've shown you two major things.
Print num and nums. In between, we have to include the result is equal to the addition, and we have to print the value. No, addition of all numbers, you said. So,
Addition of all numbers. Dipanita, do you want to try? What do you think should be the approach? Rajesh? Confused? Why are you confused? It's a very simple task. Liliana? Shantanu? Exception, you can exception. You can receive two parameters. No. You didn't get the question. I will not use the same method. I will not use the same method add nums. I'm asking you to create a new method. The method is called add numbers. Inside the add numbers, I want you to accept n number of numbers and then print the summation, the addition of all these numbers. I don't want to use this. Obviously, I will get an exception. I mean, not an exception. I will not be able to call the method itself because yeah.
Here in the num, you'll be getting each number now from that collection. So you have to store that in one variable and then add to it, like whenever it is repeating.
Wait. I think you're making sense. Go on, Pragati, one more time. Tell me.
In the num, you will be getting the each time you will be getting the number, like each number you'll be it will be storing in the num, and whenever you're printing the num, it is printing the one by one, right? So
right.
After that, when the num is the number, when it comes, you have to store that num in one more variable. Then you need to add it.
Awesome.
Add to it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Exactly. Awesome. Let's see. Let's see the solution, what Pragati says. Okay. So what she just said is this. She said public static void. I'll say the method called add numbers. Okay. Add numbers. Add numbers will accept varargs type of argument. We know why. Int ... nums. Right? We know that part. Now, what do I do? Is very simple stuff. I'm going to say.
One question: is this the fixed syntax for varargs, like in ... the nums?
No, only 3 of them. Sorry, I didn't get the question. What did it say?
Means for varargs, it is
Huh?
the fixed syntax. Means in dot 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 is the fixed.
Yeah, that's a syntax. That's a syntax.
Okay.
Yeah, that's syntax. Okay. So I'm going to create a variable here first, and this variable I will name it as temp, a temporary variable, temp. Okay. That's one thing. First step. Second step is that I'm going to say a for each loop. In the for each loop, you have already seen what for each loop does. Int nums, right? I want to iterate through all the elements that are passed on to this varargs argument. Totally fine. Then what do? I have to start adding them. Okay, I have to start adding them. This guy, okay, let me set this to 0. It is 0 anyway, but I will set this to 0 for our own convenience to make it look cleaner. Okay, then all I have to do is I have to say temp equals to num plus temp. Okay, what exactly is going to happen? Let's debug and figure this out. And then after the loop is over, that's where I go ahead and say addition or summation is plus temp. Let's check this out. What just happened? I'm going to unlock add numbers, and that's fine. What happened with 09? Oh, it doesn't understand 09. So I just said 9. That's fine. Let's now call add numbers method. I will put a breakpoint line number 29. Okay. Save it. Trigger the run. Okay. I'm in line number 11. I will do a step into. I'm in line number 29. I got all my values here. We have already seen that part, that we can push all these values as an argument inside the method. That's fine, right? Now what do? My temp is set to 0. Perfect. Then I go one step down. So what is the value of temp right now? The value of temp right now is 0, because the line 31 is not yet executed. The green line stays in a particular line means the line is about to get executed. It is not yet executed, right? So temp is 0, num is 1, because the first element is 1, correct? And again, temp is 0. Make sense? Let's run the loop one step at a time. Okay, I just ran the loop. Now let's see the value of temp. The temp value is 1, because you saw num value was 1. Num value was 1 earlier, and temp value was 0. So 1 plus 0 is 1. That got stored inside temp. Right? Now again, the loop goes down. The num value is 23. Temp value is 1. Correct? And 23 plus 1 is 24. So 24 will be now stored to the temp again. That's what is happening. So value of temp is 24. Similarly, if I keep on just executing it over and over again, I will be able to add all my values, and my print is this. Is that clear? Yes, no? Okay, so that is what the solution of varargs is. Okay, you can accept multiple elements together and then process it as per your requirement. Yes, Dipanita, practice, 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 and practice. Just don't say that you have to practice, you do the practice. Only that will work out, right? So that's with that. Let's see the next topic, which is very important, and that is class. Okay, from here we actually taking step towards object-oriented programming. Okay, lot of things are conceptual, and then we build on top of it. Okay, we will go practical, but a lot of things are conceptual. Okay, let's try to understand that one step at a time. So we're going to understand the first thing, which is class. What is a class, right? So class is basically a template or a blueprint. Okay, you can say class. You can consider class as a real world object. So for example, here I have taken an example of card. Okay, so a card can be of various brand, model, engine, seating capacity, etc. Right? So card is, you can consider card as a class, and all these informations that are within the class is called as property. Okay, property of the class. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a class. We know that the class will, we know that the car will have a brand, a model, an engine, and a seating capacity. So we can create a class now. I will create a class now. Okay, how to create a class? Let's see that. We just create a class just by the simple syntax saying public class car. We know that we are going to create a class called car, and we are going to give a bracket, a opening and a close bracket. Whatever lies within the opening and close bracket, we call it as class members, right? So let's try to create a class first. I will actually go to this guy here and create a new Java project. Saying what? Saying oops. We'll keep all the oops related things here in this project. Okay, so finish and don't create, and inside this I will create a new package, and I'll say oops basics and finish. That's my package name. Inside that I'm going to create a class. Okay, I will name the class as car. Please see that I am not giving any public static void main in this case. I'm not going to give any main method here. Okay, I will give a main method somewhere else. We will see that. But just give me a second. Okay, so now I'll say finish. So what just happened? I have a class called car, which is residing inside a package called oops basics. Okay, I'm going to close this one and this one. Save and this one. Okay, that's my class. Whatever lies within these two flower brackets, we will call them as class members. Whatever is within the class is called class members. Simple thing. Members. There are different type of members that we will know, but for now we have variables. What variables? We have a variable called as string brand. Okay. We have a variable called a string model. We have a variable called as float. Float, and it is basically your size engine, and then we have your int, which is seat, number of seats this particular class will have. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink. I am trying to just map an actual car that we see every day in our life. I'm just trying to use that concept of a car into Java. That's it. So I'm saying I have a car, and this car will definitely have these properties. It will have a brand, a model, an engine, a seat, number of seats. Okay, I'll just say number of makes sense. That's what we have. Now that this is a class, totally fine, but if I actually take you back to the previous one, so what I just created here is basically a template. It's a template that is created in order to help us understand what a car must have. It's a template that has been created to make us understand what a car must have. So, which means we can use this class, car class itself, and then we can actually create multiple cars out of it. Okay, we can take the template that is created like a car, and then actually we can create multiple cars out of it, which will have a genuine brand, a genuine model, a genuine engine, number of seat, everything. This is a template. From the template, we will create actual cars. Okay, so let's look at the example. So we have created a car class, a template, that's fine. So you see all these properties that are there in the class car. I am using all these properties again, and I'm creating 3 different cars out of it. One is Volkswagen, another one is Aston Martin, and the one is Suzuki, right? There are 3 different car brands, 3 different models, 3 different size, engine size, and different engine capacity. Now, you will see that this guy over here is this particular car itself, along with its properties, is pretty unique to itself. So it is a unique guy now. We use a template over here and we created a unique Volkswagen, which is Volkswagen Golf 1.5 engine, 5 seating capacity. And then accordingly, we have Aston Martin Zagato 3.7, seating capacity 4, and then we have Suzuki Jimny, right? So we have 3 different cars that are coming out of one single template. Can you tell me, do you have conceptually, can you tell me, did you understand what I just said? I got 2 yeses. What about others? Okay. Vidya? Okay. So that means you are understanding the concept that we can have a template, and then using the template, we can actually create actual elements or actual objects out of that template. So let's put this actually on code. We have created a class. I just showed you how to do that. Totally fine. And then let's try to understand about the class members. So in a class, there are different type of class members that we will be learning. The members that we have just right now created in the Eclipse, those are called variables. Variables mean the value inside those members can be changed or can be updated. Okay, and then we have methods, right? The method over here that I am showing you here is saying print brand name. What it is going to do, it'll just say brand name is so and so. That's it. This method, the job of this method is to just print the brand name. Okay. So now we have just spoken about 2 different class members. One is called variables, one is called methods. There's another type of variable called as constructors, which I will not talk right now. It is much more advanced topic. I'll probably take it next week. Okay. So let's see what is happening once you are actually creating a class. So we just saw the class over here. We have given some class members. These are variables. Totally understand that part. But how do I actually create these elements or these objects, actual objects which will hold actual value? How do I do that? In order to do that, I will have to use a keyword called as a new. So I can say something like this: car Volkswagen equals to new car. Let's try to do that in code. So where do I do this? Where do I actually write that piece? I will actually now create a main method. So in the oops basic, I'm going to create a class, and then I'm going to say the class name called test car. And then this method will have a main method, because I told you that there should be an initial point from where your execution will be started. So test car, the main method inside the test car is that initial point. Okay. Now I said I want to create an actual object out of the car. How can I do that? I can say something like this: car Volkswagen equals new car. And that's it. By doing this, what just happened? What just happened is that you have created an object from the car template, and you named that object as Volkswagen. Right at this moment, this is an empty object which has no data. Let me prove that to you. I will say this out, and then I want to access. So the car template is having these elements, these members: brand, model, engine, number of seat, and all of them, right? So actually, when I have created the Volkswagen, I should be able to get to know the brand name, the model, engine, and number of seat, right? I should be able to get that. But how is the question. So what I will do is I'll say Volkswagen. I misspelled it. Volkswagen dot. That's where you came to know about the operator dot. It's called a dot operator. Dot operator, and you're saying brand. So you're trying to access the value of brand, the value of brand. Then okay, sorry, my bad. Okay, I'm going to access the other thing called as engine. I'll access the other thing called as model, and then I will access the mind of seat. Okay, I want to ask a question. Can you, any one of you, not any one of you, I will pick up, hold on. So I want to know what will be the outputs from line number of 9 to line number 12. So there are 4 elements which I'm trying to access. I want to know what will be the printout for all these 4 lines. Vidya. When you're guessing, you should guess logically, right?
First we'll print the brand name, and second we'll print the engine like this.
We didn't give anything, right? We just initiated.
Exactly. Ashish, where do I get the brand name from? Did I give the brand name? Did I set the brand name? Look at the car class. Where is the value? Do I have initial value?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We are just defined the variables.
Correct. Exactly. So ideally, I will be printed out with 0.0, that is for engine, and number of seat will be 0. If I just run this guy now, test car run as, sorry, they will have null, obviously. Strings will have null, and rest of them 0.0 and 0. That is what I got out of it. Rajesh, did you understood what just happened? Okay. Right. So now that we know this, how do I set the value? It's quite simple. I'm just going to copy and do the setting on my own. Okay. I will say engine. I will say model. I will say number of seats. And my bad, actually. Why did I do that? Okay. So brand name equals Volkswagen. Volkswagen model. Give any model you want to. So dot model, which is golf. Then we have this guy dot engine, which is 1.5, and it's an error. Vidya, why do I have an error? Why do I have an error?
It's a float.
So
So it should be double.
why? Why not float?
We give like we defined as float and car class. So
Yeah, so what? The car is, we have an engine, float, totally fine. I can give the decimal value here. Why am I getting error?
We have to write it as 1.5 f, is it?
Exactly. You have to give a suffix of f
okay.
for floats, right? You don't give that for double, but for float you do that. And then you say Volkswagen dot seats, and that is, I'll give 5. So now that I have all these guys, right? I will try to print. You see, I get my values as I have entered these elements, these values here. I actually got printed them here, no problem at all. So the point is, I told you, as per my PPT here, whatever you just saw is converting, not converting, is basically creating an instance from a class. So you just created a car, an actual car, a Volkswagen car out of a class, car template. You created a Volkswagen car out of a car template. That's what you did. Right? I can create n number of instances like so. N number of them. Okay? Every instance, understand this concept very well. Every instance is unique to itself. What does it mean? It means this guy will never have an access to this guy or to this guy. Whatever values that you see here, sorry. Okay. Whatever values that you see here inside this particular instance is never published or can be accessed inside another instance. It can be accessed, but it will, the change of the value will not affect the value of another instance. So what I mean by that is that these guys are different from each other. They have different brand, different name, different engine size and everything. They're totally different from each other. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay, so let's go one step down and let's look at the details here. So I'm trying to say that how to access class members. Here you see that we are using dot operator. Okay, I have created a car class and then a Volkswagen object or a instance, and whatever I just showed it to you, the same thing I have given. There is this, the first thing is a car, is a class name. The second thing is called a reference variable. The third is called a new keyword, it's a keyword. And then these guys over here, the guys who are in blue, They are called instance variable. You must be confused what happened here. It's a very important concept to grasp. Understand the names. The first thing is obviously the template car. The second thing is reference variable. We call it as a reference variable. Why? I will explain that. Then we have a new keyword. And then we are saying the car class. And then we give a bracket there. Okay. That's how we are creating a reference variable. Reference variable for the car class. Okay. Let's look at the next diagram.
Sorry, in the last of the new, it's again a class name, right?
Which one? This one after this? Yeah. It is the same class name.
Okay.
It is the same class name. This is the syntax. This is a syntax for creating a reference variable. Okay, an instance of a class. This is the statement or syntax. Okay. So now that we have here the instance, I will try to make you understand a little bit more details behind it. Let me make it big. This is a very important concept which you need to, totally get it. Because until and unless you get this, you're not going anywhere. All right. So we are talking about memory management. Why memory management? Because this is the right time that you should know that how classes and instances are different. Where do class reside? Where do instances reside? Where do member within the instances reside? Where do they reside? You should understand that part. So understanding Java object and memory management. There are two types of memory sections within Java, JVM. Okay. This whole thing that I'm trying to show you here is happening within random access memory or RAM. Okay. The whole thing is happening inside RAM. So we know that we have an abstraction of JVM on top of our operating system. That's fine. So within JVM, there is these two sections. There are many more sections as well, many more memories as well, but there are two major sections or memories. We call them as stack and heap. Okay. So stack holds all the methods. Stack holds all the methods are in execution, and heap stores instance objects. What does it mean? It means that the name, the main method, print car name method, these are all methods, right? They all get stacked up in the stack memory in form of a LIFO. What is LIFO? LIFO means last in, first out. Let's understand one more time. Let's look at this green box. It's a stack memory. In the stack memory, as we all know, when JVM starts, it looks for what? It looks for a main method, right? So let's look at the last example. JVM kicked up. It looked for the main method, which is inside a particular class. That's fine. This main method is having, just a minute. This main method is having, okay, I didn't put the string. Okay, that's fine. So the main method here, I'm showing that it's having two variables. One is a string variable, another one is a reference variable. What is reference variable? Reference variable means that this is a car, which is a template. You are creating a reference. So you say car reference name or instance name equals to new car. That's what you say, right? So you can do something like this as well. Let me go to the code and show it to you. Um, I will actually delete this whole section. Can I say something like this? String car name, okay? And then I can say also one more thing, which is car Volkswagen. Okay, I have car Volkswagen and string car name. Okay, can I do something like this? I can. By doing this, what does it mean? It means I have defined a variable. This variable car name is of string type, and this variable Volkswagen is of car type. Okay, so this Volkswagen or this car name, both of them are not initialized. Okay, so can I say something like this? I can say that I want to give an initial value of car name as empty box, okay, or just say null. That's fine. And then for the Volkswagen, I want to instantiate this. How do I do that? I say equals, not here. I say here, Volkswagen equals new car. Can I say that? I surely can, because I know that the reference variable Volkswagen is of car type. The variable car name is of string type. Similarly, Volkswagen is of car type. And then you say Volkswagen equals to new car, which will then create a memory, create an object in the memory for us. So let's look at the PPT and see what just happened. So we have main method, again, same thing, right? I have a main method here. There are two variables called name and car Volkswagen, two variables, right? So from the main method, I'm going to call another method called as print car name. Let's try to do that. So I have initialized my Volkswagen. That's fine. And then I will say I want to call print car name. So public static void print car name. Inside this, what do I write? I will have to pass on the car name. So I'm going to say string name. It is the same thing that we did earlier. That was with an array. Here it is just a string. So string name. And then I'm going to print this. So how do I print this? Just 1 second. Okay. So how do I print this? I just print this by this out, and I will say name. Okay, that's my print statement for the print car name. Okay, so can I call this print car method? I surely can. I can go to the method class, the actual Java method, and I can say print car. And here I can actually say Volkswagen dot what brand plus you want to give the brand name and the model name, right? And then you say okay. So we have just passed on this information to the method called print car name. It will print out for me. That's all. So which means JVM will first call main, and then it will call print car name. Okay. Now let's look at this. What do I have? I have the stack memory. First, I will call the main method. So the stack memory first method that will be called will be main method because that's what JVM is looking for. In the main method, we have two variables called of the variables of type string name, and the other variable is of type car. Okay, car type. And then I have a method called print car name, which will be then taking its own space in the stack memory. And this, you see, this frame for main method is here. And so as and when whichever stack up inside the stack memory. Okay. And as and when, so as soon as the print car name method is completed, this slot will be then empty. Okay, this slot will be then empty, right? So this is a stack memory. Then we have something called as heap memory. So heap memory actually contains the actual object, the car object. Okay, and there is a concept of garbage collector, and there is a concept of